Hey everybody, I've got some tips and tricks for Vermintide 2 melee weapons. There are a lot of details about weapons and attacks that are not explained within the game. Vermintide 2 was recently ported to Xbox One, and now there's an influx of new players. If you've already played this game for hundreds of hours, then you probably won't find anything new here. But if you're relatively new to the game, I'm sure you'll learn something new and useful. I'm playing on PC, but everything should also apply to consoles. Let's start with attack sequences. Every weapon has a sequence of attacks it goes through and then repeats. For example, Kruber's halberd has 3 attacks in its sequence. It starts with a diagonal slash that hits multiple targets, and follows with a forward thrust and then a forward chop. The second and third attacks are designed for single targets and are effective against strong and shielded enemies. But these attacks are not so good against a horde because they leave you open to enemy attacks. In a horde or multiple enemy situation, you might just want to use the first slash attack that hits several targets. To do this, you have to reset the weapon after the first attack. There are 2 ways to reset your weapon. The first and more obvious way is to just block after the first attack. So the sequence is attack, block, attack, block. You can also throw in a push when necessary. Let's look at Karelian's sword and dagger. It has 4 attacks in its sequence. The first 2 are sword slashes that hit several targets. Next is a dagger slash that has shorter reach than the sword. The last attack is a single target sword thrust. In a horde situation, I like to use the first 2 sword slash attacks only, which hit the most targets. So the attack sequence is attack, attack, block, repeat. I said there was 2 ways to reset your weapon. The second way is to quick swap with your ranged weapon. This is more tedious and more costly if you mess up, but it's faster. I don't hear of many people using this technique in Vermintide 2, but it was fairly common in Vermintide 1. The way to do this is to double tap the quick swap key after each attack. If you're doing it right, you will never see your ranged weapon. With slow, two-handed weapons, it may be possible to exceed the normal weapon's attack speed by doing this. Let's talk about push attacks. All melee weapons have push attacks in Vermintide 2. Only a handful had them in Vermintide 1. A push attack is a fast attack that happens after a push if you continue to hold the attack key. These attacks are very useful in tough situations, like being surrounded or dealing with berserkers and storm vermin. Weapon heavy attacks. For almost all melee weapons, it doesn't matter how long you charge your heavy attack. You can release it as soon as the heavy attack animation starts, and it will do the same damage as if you held it for the full duration. There are 2 exceptions to this: Barden's Pick and Salt Spire's Rapier. These weapons do more damage the longer you charge them. On the subject of Salt Spire's Rapier, did you know you can shoot that gun in his left hand, and it has unlimited ammo? If you look through your key bindings, you will see Weapon Special. I bound mine to mouse scroll down, and I'll explain why in a minute. The Rapier is the only melee weapon that has a special attack. The gun doesn't do much damage and shoots slow, but it still can be useful. The Weapon Special key can also be used to zoom in all Karelian's bows. There are 2 zoom levels, which is why I like it on mouse scroll. This does not work with any crossbow or Kruber's bow, which has its own zoom. That's all for this video, but there will be more Vermintide 2 to come.